Welcome everyone to another Directions Mag Geospatial webinar, today sponsored by our friends at Maxar. So today we are excited to welcome Chris Formeller from Maxar. He is here to discuss some of the newest innovations in satellite imagery that will improve your projects. Welcome, we're glad to have you with us and excited to learn more about what's going on over in imagery.
Thank you very much. And I really appreciate everyone attending. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Real quickly, my name is Chris Formeller. I'm a Senior Imagery Product Manager at Maxar in the Earth Intelligence Division. My main focus and goal is monitoring and running the products, the imagery strip products that come straight off of our constellation. And I do have a lot of slides, so I am just going to dive in and we're going to kind of quickly talk about some of the key items of what I'm going to present today. One, I'm going to briefly just touch on some of the Maxar history and the satellites, kind of what's next and coming. And I'll give everyone an opportunity to see different resolutions and what satellite imagery has historically done and where we're heading. And then I'll be really excited to talk about the HD technology and who and how it's being used today and what's driving some of the innovation and how it's creating new solutions. And then we'll be ending with, just talking about how we kind of quantify the value of HD, and hopefully we'll have a little time to kind of go through some Q&A and get an opportunity to really just ask your questions and see what you think. And if we don't cover everything you need, you'll have my contact information and feel free to reach out. So Maxar has been under various names and in different titles over the years, different logos, but where we started at was Iconos and QuickBird. These were like the early adopters in the industry, the early commercial providers of satellite imagery. And as over time, what we see is we have the highest resolution constellation in market today. And what's really exciting is Worldview Legion's coming next, which will be a huge improvement. We have massive resolution, high accuracy, and we're going to have an incredible revisit capability. Now, with Worldview Legion, we're going to go ahead and add 6 satellites. We'll be launching in 2 different launches. First set launch will be this year, and these will be 8-band multispectral satellites. And we will have the ability to revisit up to 15 times a day, depending on where you're at. Now, the really cool part of it, it's really best to just see how the constellation is going to look. So when you're running Legion with our constellation, you can see us constantly revisiting over Paris again and again and again. And this type of power is going to allow us to really maximize that resolution. And this is where HD is going to come into play. And you can see here the resolution of satellite imagery, looking at starting at 3 meters. This is just to kind of allow you to see where satellites were and where some satellites are today. Yes, you can see the planes, you can see that this may be a road, runway, taxiway, but as you migrate down and as you start to look at the resolution, you can see that more and more detail is coming out. Down to 70 centimeters, now you're starting to see some lettering on the planes, you're starting to see the fuselage, the engines, the runway lines, the taxi lines. It's starting to become clearer. 50 centimeters, now you're starting to see that, Star Alliance is on the side of one plane. If you fly a lot, you might recognize the shape of the lettering on the other plane. But at 30 centimeters, definitely you can see both planes and read that one is Lufthansa and the other is Star Alliance. But what's cool about where HD is going to do, it's really enhancing the visual aesthetics, and it's really sharpening and pulling out the details in the imagery. So you're going to have a new experience with the HD technology. So, resolution, and I'm glad everyone had kind of keyed into that, view, because that's really the main focus of what HD is trying to accomplish. But if we really uncover what HD is doing, we're trying to help really identify smaller features get more information out of the imagery. And satellite imagery itself has always had a perceived ceiling on it, a limitation that we only had so much resolution, we could only accomplish so much. And ultimately, customers have been asking, I love satellite imagery. I love what it can do, but you don't have the resolution. I need to have a better visual experience. I need to see smaller features. I need it to look closer and closer like aerial, but but satellite imagery's always had that limitation. But when we really started to evaluate it, we really came up that there's an algorithmic way of accomplishing this. So with the Maxar's proprietary technology, HD or high definition, what we're doing, we're very intelligently using the native resolution of the source image and intelligently increasing the number of pixels and refining the edges and sharpening up the details in the imagery. And you'll see several examples throughout this presentation really highlighting how HD is taking that native image and creating a high value visual product that's going to really allow you to see more and do more. Now, this little video here just kind of arbitrarily highlights what HD is doing. So HD, the image on the left, is just a standard 50 centimeter native collective image, and which would be suitable in most cases. But this is the same image on the right, and what you immediately can see is the edge of buildings. You can see the windows are more defined. You can see smaller details and more information inside the image. It's just improving the experience and allowing you to see more. But HD is not just a pretty picture. I mean, yes, it's improved aesthetics, but really the key is allowing customers to use more satellite imagery and use it for more things, adding more of their business workflows in there and solving more problems, and allowing them to help collect features either algorithmically or manually. We have seen great examples in the past where we had applied HD to imagery, and we submitted the native imagery into a cloud source platform and ran some feature collection, with the crowd, and the crowd was having a 50% error rate. After HD was applied to the imagery, that error rate dropped down to 10%. It was a massive improvement. Same thing with algorithms. We had done a test with a machine learning algorithm for car counting, and what we uncovered was there was a 60% improvement in precision and a decrease in false positives and false negatives. So the algorithm itself was able to discern the cars and discern features in shadows and under trees. It was able to collect more information more efficiently and more accurately. And of course, with the benefits of HD, this allows us to create a better visual experience, but in remote regions and global coverage. Now we're not just limited to having high resolution, imagery in, certain locations. We'll be able to improve all of the satellite imagery and improve the visual experience holistically across the globe. And with Worldview Legion coming here, we're going to even add to that and expand the ability of having more 15 centimeter HD imagery all over the globe, and potentially able to monitor sites up to 15 times a day with high resolution imagery. Now today, we have a number of customers that are actively using HD. We have customers across navigation, automotive, civil government, various industries, energy, technology, defense. There are many more, but these are the main customers today that are using it. And each one of these have identified values that they've seen. Just in automotive and navigation, satellite imagery has a huge opportunity of allowing to collect road networks in very remote regions and over large areas. This doesn't suggest that we're replacing aerial, because aerial is huge resolution. It's, beautiful imagery, high accuracy, but this allows global coverage, remote regions, and it really allows the automotive and autonomous industry to really identify the road furniture, identifying crosswalks and sidewalks and arrows, paint stripes, signals, signs, lights. These are huge areas to help identify and collect information for the best navigation possible. And also, this allows improvements in the infotainment area as well. Civil governments, once again, they are huge users of aerial imagery, but there are situations where a satellite image would be helpful for logistics and planning, especially to help them plan out future aerial plant sites and aerial mapping missions. But it really allows them to do a lot of this multi-year refresh, tax assessments. They can do quick compliance and audits, traffic engineering, emergency management, green space planning. And then they can leverage the aerial industry to do a higher resolution and higher accuracy. But with HD, we're able to kind of close some of those gaps and help, fuel and feed some of the needs in the meantime. Now, industry itself, there is a tremendous amount of industries across energy, there's logistics, there's assets management, the monitoring equipment, especially in remote locations, where they're trying to understand shipping ports or warehouses and equipment coming and going, trailers. They just need to have insight on what's going on. And with Worldview Legion and the ability to monitor and add 15 centimeter HD pixel products in there, they're going to be able to see a lot more what's going on and monitor the site over day. And typically they can use various algorithms to monitor the traffic and flow of materials going in and out and improve the logistics of that site. Now, the technology industry, there is a whole host of individuals under this bucket. There are the data scientists that are using AI, ML algorithms to extract information. There's a whole host of new products and services that can come from 15 centimeter HD. The ability to collect and extract features and meaningful information, various monitoring products. There's an opportunity under this bucket. And what's interesting is the image that you're seeing on the screen right now, this was created by an imagery analyst, professional imagery analyst. And this individual used standard techniques that are accepted globally to sharpen and enhance the image. And this is the Starship for SpaceX, but I want you to take note of the rocket and some of the pipes on the ground. When you really add HD, now the pipes become really obvious. They're visual, you can see the edges, the ship itself becomes clear, you're actually able to see a lot of the panel, the metalwork, the individual sheets of metal on the Starship. This is how HD is really making a big change. It's allowing individuals to just do that much more with satellite imagery and able to extract a huge amount of insight from sites. And of course, there are defense applications. In the same situation, I wanted to show what, COTS tools sharpening techniques that are pretty well accepted in the industry compared to an HD image on the below. The drones right here, really, it becomes quite clear, because if you're in a defense requirements, you have mission critical planning. You need to make quick and decisive decisions on what's happening on the ground. And in the image in the bottom, you can definitely see the sharpening of the paint lines. You can see the drone more clearly. You can see the wings and the shape and structure of it. Small details inside of in a defense situation is very key. And I'll touch on that from one of our customers' use cases, because having a faster assessment, having better insight in the image allows for better decision making. And this is not just a defense requirement, this is a commercial requirement. Having greater insight, having more information, minimizing field, inspections and minimizing costs and having the opportunity to monitor the site again and again has the most value and allows you to do more with satellite imagery. And that really ultimately the goal is to make better decisions, more informed. For defense, for commercial, it creates the insights that you can make the most highest return on your investment to make the best choices. Now, aerial complement, this is an interesting place. I've had a few situations where aerial providers were planning out their region, and they have a host of projects around them, and they're trying to collect all that. But the challenge was they had previously, in the previous collection season, were collecting a site which was pretty remote and hard to reach, and there were minimal number of airports in the region, and or in some situations there were restricted airspace or challenges to collect over that region. So we've actually started to use 15 centimeter HD to help some of these aerial providers, because we don't have to worry about mobilization. And there were a lot of great studies done where they were able to measure in satellite imagery, tie it into the triangulated network, tie in their GCPs or their survey points, and they were able to get a high degree of accuracy, but they also were able to get the coverage they needed to finalize their project and allow them to really mobilize into their the metropolitan centers, and allow them opportunity to not have to throw a pilot way off towards the Arctic or into very remote regions, and allows them to complete their projects. And we were just there to help augment the solution. And it did reduce risk, and it reduced some of their costs and allowed them to finish their projects. What's interesting about HD has been around for a little while. I mean, I've been working on HD for a few years now, working closely with customers, working closely with our R&D team, our development team, and we've been slowly integrating it throughout our products, or intend to integrate it holistically into many of our offerings. Right now, HD is a pretty good part of our imagery products, and it's currently even being leveraged by our mosaics as well. And it is possible many of you have seen an HD image either in the news or on your phone while you're navigating, or just arbitrarily over this past year or two. HD is slowly getting really migrated across analytics products. The analytics team in Maxar is starting to really look at leveraging the technology and the power of it to extract more information. And also we're looking at our vector products as well, extracting information with better data. Better source data through automated processes tend to have a better output and allow you to extract more information. So I'm going to really kind of quantify the value of HD through some use cases, because HD holistically, you can look at the image and go, yes, this image looks better than that image. But how much better? Now, we've done some testing. We've done some machine learning testing, and we do quantify it with improved precision and reduced false positives and false negatives. We do highlight when we've used crowdsourced groups to map out features in crowdsourcing platforms. HD definitely reduces error and allows teams to extract more information. We do also have partners and customers that are starting to write their own case studies and really identify it. So the Geo4i is a great customer in Europe, and one of the things that they really focused on, and their case study was for defense purposes, that they really highlighted that sometimes a commercial plane and a defense application plane could almost look the same. There's subtle features on the plane, and sometimes satellite imagery really couldn't really hone in on some of those subtle details and really allow people to kind of see the features in there and allow them to make an informed decision, because it could be a commercial plane or it could be an AWAC or a defense application, and it changes how they would do the logistics and how they plan, and it's very mission critical at that point. While another one of our partners started Land Info, looked at HD for humanitarian purposes. They were trying to use kind of their ML AI applications to do mapping of refugee camps, tent cities, where they were trying to help, do logistics and planning and get some insight on how many people are in these, refugee camps. And it really would allow, to better respond to these groups to understand. And initially their algorithms weren't running properly and really were struggling at these non-uniform shapes and structures. But with HD, it really allowed them to gain the insight they needed. And they were actually able to use 15 centimeter HD to dive into the image and actually get the information they needed. There are many more use cases that we have out there. We have customers that have leveraged. We've had contests in Asia where they were testing accuracy, trying to see how accurate they can get it, to extracting features and planimetric features from mapping applications. We have a whole host of customers that are using it and are extremely excited in the outcome and what they can do now with satellite imagery. Now, to help continue quantifying the value of HD, I've already started doing an outreach to various universities around the world. And my goal is to just supply HD imagery to these universities to allow some additional testing, test some AI, ML applications, maybe even come up with new tests and new ways, new white papers, new use cases, new case studies to really dive in there and get, an opportunity of allowing everyone to truly understand how valuable HD can be to everyone's workflows. And right now, I'm in the early phases, but I hope to have some new studies coming up, and we'll definitely populate them on the website, because my goal is to just show everyone how powerful HD is. And it's not just the pretty picture. It's beyond pretty pictures. There's a whole host of data analytics and monitoring capabilities, especially when you link HD technology to Worldview Legion launch and the capability of the satellites with that new pixel experience. So I'm going to go ahead and just wrap up a few of my thoughts right here. HD definitely does create new clarity from space. So it's a new pixel experience, a new view from what we're doing. And it's showing that it really is increasing value to the customer. And it's helping to truly solve new problems and new challenges. And with our new constellation and our existing constellation, we have a global reach. We have an ability to rapidly refresh and see the most remote regions with the best pixel experience from any provider in the industry, in the satellite industry. And what's really going to be cool about this, we're going to have new 15 centimeter HD pixel products coming out on the market, new opportunities for all of you to see how you can leverage the technology to solve your problems, your challenges, solve truly challenging business issues in your region, and hopefully provide the most value to yourselves. So I will go ahead and stop right here, and we'll see about if there's a few questions in the chat. And
there are absolutely questions in the chat, and folks continue to add those in. We do just have a few minutes here to answer some questions, but go ahead and type those in, because Chris could follow up with you later on. So let's start with, is there sample imagery with HD for me to review?
There is. Please, right now, if you want to immediately go to the Maxar website under the product samples link, we're happy to share that link. I think we have a follow-up email, but if you go to the product samples site on our corporate webpage, you will find a 15 centimeter HD pixel product there. Feel free to download it, and there should be an equivalent 30 centimeter native collect image there as well. So I encourage you, download both. Please take a look at them and test it in whatever workflow you feel. And if you feel that this is going to work out great for you, then I would definitely encourage you to reach out.
Perfect. Someone would like to know if the HD algorithm works in SAT or after the image is received by the ground station.
It is integrated in our production system. So after downlink, the native image will go through our standard workflows and processes. So if you choose to add HD to the image, which I would strongly encourage, you can request that HD to be applied, and it'll go through after downlink and after some of the initial processing to create our what's called our system ready minimally processed image, or 1B, and you can have it applied to any of the higher level products that you like.
That's great. Someone would like to know, will HD imagery improve the DEM products?
There is some early studies that with some of the algorithms that the automated extraction of the digital elevation models run a little bit more efficiently and with less peaks and spikes and less quality issues. So potentially, but it's still early. We definitely need to continue doing testing, and samples in our Brightcon elevation product suite are in test in that environment, and they're working very hard to validate some of the early testing. But it does look very encouraging, and I have had some customers who've done their own DMs, DTM, DSM extraction, and most have been very excited, very pleased with the outcome.
Perfect. So someone says some machine learning algorithms for super resolutions are known to hallucinate features that were not in the original image. Does that happen to Maxar HD technology?
We have not seen any concerns. That was something that I wanted to make sure that HD supplied the best possible pixel experience without altering the pixel experience, because it was very important to me that we did not destroy any information, and we maintained, because I'm very much a pixel purist. I see HD as an option to create more pixel choices, and I wanted to be very clear that we were not destroying it. So I have not observed or have heard, or any of our testing has shown any challenges like that.
All right. This HD service, it's a totally new one, or is it integrated on, for example, Secure Watch?
It is a new capability that's come in line, that's integrated into our workflows. But for the Secure Watch users, I'd like to, happily tell you that it is in the development product roadmap to add HD into Secure Watch, so that you can order HD products through Secure Watch and/or use the exploit mode and apply HD interactively. I'm not aware of, at the current schedule of that, but I've been working with the Secure Watch product team to make sure that we get this integrated and organized and set up. So HD is coming for Secure Watch.
Perfect. So just making sure I have sifted through some questions here. The next one, this was a multi-part question, so we'll get to as much of it as we can. I'll give it to you in pieces.
Please.
How does Maxar get 15 centimeter resolution from a satellite that, according to the law of physics, gets best at about 30 centimeter resolution?
Yes, no, that is a good question. So HD is an algorithm, and it's using the native resolution image and of the image. So the higher the resolution of the native collect will allow us to reach 15 centimeters. So Worldview Legion is launching at a pixel resolution of 29 centimeters, and Worldview 3 and Worldview 4 both are 30 centimeter collectors. So leveraging HD is taking that source information and algorithmically and very intelligently increasing the number of pixels to refine the details, add the clarity into the image, sharpen the linear features like buildings and structures, adding adding that context, adding that value into the image, but using that source information to improve it. It is an algorithm, and it is just an optional capability to improve the visual experience of that image. And but it's just using that native resolution. It's been a project over 3 years with our R&D team to create the best possible pixel experience without degrading the value of the image.
Excellent. And then the last part of that, and this will be our last question, do you have sample imagery that shows the resolution of repeating patterns at 30 centimeters?
We don't have any samples exactly like that on the website, but I would encourage you to reach out to us, and we are happy to talk about samples for your specific need and use case. HD can be applied on any one of Maxar's satellites. So you can turn a 50 centimeter image into a 30 centimeter HD pixel product, and or you can turn a 30 centimeter natively collected image into a 15 centimeter image pixel product, and allow you to kind of have a choice by having true 30 centimeter pixels and or having an option of fulfilling it with HD pixels. So please reach out to us, and we're happy to talk and allow you an opportunity to evaluate HD.
That's great. So there are many more questions on the list. So, Chris, you've got some catching up to do, and a little happy news. There are some university folks on the list there that are excited to talk to you about that project as well. So thanks, folks, for being here. Remember that we will send you an email that has some follow-up links, as well as the recording and your attendance certificate. We also appreciate your input on the survey on the way out. Thank you again to Chris for sharing his expertise, and also to Claudette and Deke for their support in the background as well. We can't do this alone, and I appreciate the whole team. We hope that you'll join us for more geospatial webinars. Make it a great day. Tell a friend about Maxar and Directions Magazine. Thanks, everybody.